So welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today's story comes from Action Comics number 264, published in June 1960, with story by Otto Binder and art by Kurt Swan. Is there only one world like Earth in the whole universe? Is there a civilization like ours among the many millions of inhabited planets? And is there one single Superman in the cosmos? All of these mysteries are answered one day in an amazing way, and even the Man of Steel, who is Earth's superhero, is astounded when he meets the Superman from outer space. So we open with Lois Lane and Clark Kent. They're interviewing this scientist, and she says, "Goodness, are you twins, Professor Heath?" But it turns out the other one is a robot, and they have he's developed a electronic robot detector, which she borrows. Clark says, "Very interesting, Lois. You get all the details. I have another appointment. See you later for our lunch." Clark hurries away just as Superman is due to entertain some children at a hospital. Are they the same person? So he's putting on a show, and he uses his X-ray vision to call his robot double to meet up with Lois Lane, and he finds out that she has the electronic robot detector, and so he's a little bit worried. But he spots this duplicate of him punching out the robot and then taking his place in meeting Lois. "My super double saved my secret identity. Why? And who is he? I'll question him after I finish my act with the children." So he arrives at the Daily Planet, and now you have both Superman and this mysterious duplicate who says, "I'll fly you home, Clark," and then starts asking him. The fellow reveals his costume, and he is Hyperman. "I am a Superman of another world, far off in space. For years I have been observing you on Earth with my telescopic vision, and know all about you, Superman. I came here today to ask you to help me protect my secret identity back home on my world, just as I saved yours." "I'll be glad to return the favor, Hyperman, but how did you gain your superpower?" So he goes through, and it's a very similar backstory to Superman, except the planet is Zoran, and he was Hyperboy, not Superboy. And it's so similar that he even works for as a reporter, and his boss says, "It baffles me how you round up big TV scoops, Chester. You haven't the backbone of a jellyfish." So actually his name is Chester something or other. I'll figure it out later. So they go back to Superman's Fortress of Solitude, and he kind of explains how this coincidence is possible. "Each of the 100 million galaxies in our universe contains more than 200 billion stars. Out of their trillions of planets, by sheer chance alone, it follows that at least one world would be a close duplicate of Earth." Well, but you would think that there'd be tons and tons that are less similar. I guess you got one that's almost exactly the same. So they fly back to, well, he shows him the green kryptonite, and apparently Hyperman has a weakness to Zoronite. So the two characters are very similar. And he works with Lydia Long, a TV reporter for Oceania Network. And she wants to marry him, of course, but she suspects that he's secretly Chester King. Just like Lois Lane and me. Yes, indeed. So they travel back to Oceania, and they go to his undersea fortress. So his Fortress of Solitude is in the water. A photoelectric eye opens the super speed door when I approach. After we dive in, the door will close before even a drop of water can flow. Now, one thing I didn't say, when they're flying off, Superman is thinking to himself, "I can't tell Hyperman why, but I'm going to expose his secret identity." I don't know why in the Silver Age they often have the characters reveal plot points for the future, which it seems that would have been a better story if he hadn't announced to himself or to the audience. So we see differences, different shoe design, different car design, and he's got the Zoronite and then Meteor X, which is, I guess, a blue version of the Zoronite. And so he brings out a costume so that they can um, swap. And he also explains that robots won't work on Oceania. He asks the robot 2 plus 2, and the robot comes up with 5. So apparently, their atmosphere has zillium, which short circuits any delicate electronic brain. Now that's kind of funny because this planet Oceania is actually shown to be more advanced than Earth. So I don't know how it's this zillium is so specific that it only affects electric brains and not all the other technology they have. My tests proved there's no way to shield zillium because Superman says he's going to fix the robot, um, but it's just a trick. He says the defective robot is what I need to expose the secret identity of Hyperman. So instead of going himself, he sends the robot. Superman does, and the robot just explodes. Ha! It cracked apart, revealing it's only a robot. You were trying to cover up your secret identity with that trick. I made that robot as a joke, Lydia. Joke nothing. I'm almost sure you're Hyperman. I tampered with the robot's motor before it took off so it would shatter in front of Lydia. I have a good reason for exposing Hyperman's secret identity. So they try again. I don't blame you for what happened, Superman. It was a twist of fate, but you could still help me lull Lydia's suspicion. Put on my spare suit. You'll take my place at the Independence Day celebration tonight. So indeed, he flies up, and Lydia says, "Don't try to fool me, Chester. I know you have to set off the atomic fireworks, and your identity is Hyperman. How are you going to slip away with all these people watching?" You got me wrong, Lydia. Let's go aboard the sightseeing satellite. So they go on the sightseeing satellite, and there is Superman dressed as Hyperman, with a string of atomic firecrackers to celebrate their 5th of July. Now, radiation from the atomic reactor on top of the giant flagpole are making that flag luminous. It seems the OSA of this world still has only 48 states. So he says, astronomers previously detected that meteor swarm coming down for the big finale. I'm scheduled to use this atomic Roman candle to shoot them to bits like clay. But my telescopic vision previously detected that yellow Zoronite meteor. I'll pretend to sideswipe it with a fireball, deflecting it towards the sightseeing satellite. It can't crash through the meteor-proof plastic, but so the meteor gets close enough that it affects Hyperman Chester King. And his secret is officially revealed. He's wearing a super costume just like Hyperman's. I don't understand. Hyperman finally had to reveal his secret identity as I planned, but he'll lose something greater soon. So he finally admits it. I am Hyperman. Please forgive me for letting that Zoronite meteor expose you, Hyperman. Who can fight fate, Superman? You could take off my costume now, friend. The game's up. But even if I lost my secret identity, I can still continue my super career. But apparently not. He has lost his superpowers. Oof, I can't even lift this car. I've lost my superpowers, but how? I'm a scientist. My theory is that you lost your superpowers when exposed to the radiations of the atomic fireworks and the Zoronite meteor at the exact same moment. So Superman flies off, and now he's kind of a heel because they blame him for what happened to Hyperman. Lydia says, "I still love you, Chester, with or without your superpowers." I think she's nicer than Lois. I don't think Lois would do that. And since your super career is over, now we can get married. And so Superman believes that now that he has no more powers, that criminals will have no desire to take revenge on him, which I feel like they still kind of would. But he continues to watch the planet. It turns out that Chester is dying. We're helpless to save your husband, Miss King. He's dying from blood poisoning from some unknown malady. It's not unknown to me, Supergirl, but first to make it clear to you, think of how red kryptonite does unexpected things to us. It's quite possible that sometimes red kryptonite can seem harmless, but can cause death over a period of time. So apparently the blue kryptonite, or the blue meteor, was a type of his kryptonite. and poisoned him. And using the super univac, he was able to determine that Hyperman would die within 1 year, and one of the side effects was he would lose all his powers. I made it seem that the combination radiations of the atomic fireworks and the Zoronite meteor had wiped out his superpowers that kept the shocking truth from him. It let him enjoy a year of happy life without knowing the end was coming. I also deliberately exposed his identity so Chester King would go down in the history of his world as a former hero. The people of Oceania made this golden statue of Hyperman as a last tribute, dear. But why are you dying? I know why, Lydia. Last week in my fortress, I checked that blue meteor and found out its rays have been poisoning me all along. That's what took my superpowers away a year ago. It wasn't Superman's fault. I see Chester figured out that blue Zoronite is more deadly than the yellow type. Superman must have known the truth, but kept it from me. So thanks to him, we had at least 1 year of happiness together, my dear. So that was your purpose, Superman. Now gasp, goodbye, dear. What a heart of gold you have, Superman. You gave them a priceless gift even you never had. A happy year of marriage. So that's a really good story, I thought, with some fantastic artwork. So this is the final story in this omnibus, but it's a nice send-off with a really good story. Actually, there is one more story, but I've already done it because it's a Supergirl story.